Happy Thursday, everybody, and happy 4th of July here in the United States of America. Today, we have the live replay from Sunday night's live call-in show. That's Sunday night, June 30th, 2024. During the show, I was flying solo, but not for long because you guys came through big time with lots of great calls. Of course, we spent some time talking about the elimination of Genie Plus and basically Disney turning it into a paid FastPass Plus system. And the callers called in and we talked about if this was going to be advantageous to future vacations, how we're going to use this system. And also we had a great discussion on the DAS system. How is this going to affect folks that maybe cannot qualify for DAS at this point with the changes over there, and how this might be a solution to that problem. We also got some calls about vacations that just wrapped up down at Walt Disney World and some feedback, kind of boots on the ground down at Walt Disney World for Tiana's and also for a great stay over at the Polynesian. So lots of fun Disney talk coming your way over the next hour. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click really does support everything we do here on the show. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make this show possible each and every time. Thank you for that. And you can support us as well, just $5 a month. And you'll get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Coming over this week, we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP open line for Sunday night, June 30th, 2024. It's the last day of June, and I'm still your host, Mike Rallman, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Let's wrap up June by talking Disney. And Disney gave us lots to talk about this week. We're going to be opening up those phone lines at 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. It is you and me and no Scotty G. Scotty G is living out his Impressions de France wildest dreams today over in France on his cruise. He is about halfway through his second half of his back-to-back. He will be back in a couple of weeks because next week, no live call-in show. I will be on the Disney Fantasy on my second day of our cruise. I'll be out at sea and maybe by the internet, maybe not. We'll see. So follow me at Be Our Guest Mike, and of course, be in the clubhouse at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord, because I will be posting updates here, there, and everywhere to let you know how things are going over there. But just have some fun next Sunday night. No live call-in show, but the next week will be wild because I'll be back. I'll be just back. Scott will be back. And we'll have plenty to talk about. We'll be catching up with all the Disney news that we've missed, all the adventures that I had on the Disney Cruise Line, a little bit of time at Disney Springs, Old Key West, all that good stuff. So we're going to be having lots to talk about 2 weeks from tonight. So get some tickets to the ball game, go see a movie next Sunday night, and take care of each other. But let's make the most of tonight. Don't worry about that yet. Let's wrap up the month of June before we hop into July. And by the way, if you're checking this show out on the feed, happy Independence Day. It's the 4th of July when this show comes out. Again, here's my advice for all those folks here in the States, because I'm Mike from the Midwest. I live in Missouri. We are kind of big on our fireworks where I live. I will tell you, where I live, I wish I could bring you all to my neighborhood because I do love where I live. I think if you're a patron of our show, I talk about where I live a lot on that show. And I love it. I think it's just the best place in the world. I love our football team. I love our high school. I love that I live literally like across the street from, right off of a dual highway, and right across the way is the Target, the Chick-fil-A, the Taco Bell, everything. The grocery store, there's a Lion's Choice, which is a great roast beef sandwich place in St. Louis. Everything is close to me. The Dairy Queen's the other way, like 2 minutes away. Everything's close. But one thing we have this time of year, we have fireworks stands on every single corner. You cannot throw a stone without a fireworks stand on every single corner. And I am not kidding. There's more fireworks stands than Walgreens stores around here. So if you're going to play with fireworks tonight, you should, they're better at night. Remember, light them and go. And if they don't blow, they're not that expensive. Don't go back in don't get greedy and say, I'm going to relight that wick. That's always the famous last words. Trust me, I've been there. And you know what? Bottle rocket wars are a good idea at the time, but they're never a good idea in the end. We used to do that as kids. We'd shoot bottle rockets out of wiffle balls at each other. Somebody always gets stung. So be responsible. Sparklers, safe, fun. Everybody has a good time. Bottle rockets, maybe. Roman candles, now you're getting into dangerous territory. M80s, you're just lucky to have all your digits when you go back to work on Friday. Just be careful, have fun, and sometimes leave it to the professionals. Go to your town's, your little community show and let the people who know what's going on shoot off the fireworks. I think that's why we're Disney fans. Illuminations was awesome. Happily Ever After is awesome at the Magic Kingdom. No danger. They do it for us. They're pros. Anyway, happy 4th of July, everybody. Happy Independence Day of the United States of America. The best country in the world. I love our country. And if you're from another country, you should think your country's the best in the world. That's how it should be. But I'm super proud of our country. I love our veterans. I love our military. I love being an American. So today, I'm true blue, red, white, and blue. I just love being an American. And today, 4th of July, as this comes out on the feed, I'm just happy that I'm from where I am. This is kind of how I am. But let's talk Disney today. So we're going to open up the phone lines, 407-413-9395. It's just us, and we can have a discussion. A couple things I'm throwing on the table. First of all, of course, we have the changes to Genie Plus that were announced last week, just kind of out of the blue. All of a sudden, bam, Disney talks about Genie Plus going away. They're just going to get rid of the name Genie Plus and kind of rework the system. They're going to take the old baby, which was FastPass Plus. They never mentioned this, though. We just all connected the dots as Disney fans. They're going to all of a sudden let us make our reservations 7 days in advance if you're an on-site guest, 3 days in advance if you're an off-site guest. And you can make these selections before you pay. I think that's cool. I think that's something Disney, I'm surprised they're doing this. You can see what is available, make your selections before you hit the purchase button. I think that's awesome. So you can do it beforehand. And now they're called Lightning Lane Multipass. That's basically your Genie Plus. And your Lightning Lane Single Pass, that was what was the individual Lightning Lanes. So your big stuff. So what do you think of this system? Is this going to make you more likely to purchase? Is this going to affect your future vacations? And if so, how? And what do you think about it? Should they have called it? We did a show on this immediately after. We called it a time capsule. And it's going to come out tomorrow on the feed. I think it's going to come out while I'm gone because we recorded a few shows ahead of time. So we always have podcasts. We don't miss any while I'm on my vacation. Actually, it's coming out a week from tomorrow. But if you're one of the folks who did not get your 2 cents in about this system, call in and let me know. Are you more like the systems will probably cost about exactly the same, I would guess. Genie Plus and this new Lightning Lane purchase every day. But is it more enticing now that you can buy it ahead of time? Have all of your desires or wants in a line shortening system been met at this point? Because it's not really a line skipping system. I almost said the word skipping. I don't think we're skipping lines, but I think we're looking at a way to shorten lines. And I just saw a call come in and just hung up. So if you call in again, I'll get you here on the air. But what would you still like to see in this new Lightning Lane system? Because I think they took the old FastPass system that people generally liked, other than it being free. And I think we can agree that these systems are not going to be free anymore. They're not free at Six Flags. They're not free at Universal. They're not free at Cedar. Well, Cedar Fair is gone at this point. It's now called Six Flags. But these things are always going to be pay to play. But what we now can know walking into a theme park, we can know when we get onto the airplane what we have. And I think that's a good thing. Like, when you get on the airplane, I am guaranteed that I have these 3 attractions booked. These are money in the bank. I have these set. So I think that gives you a level of confidence in your vacation planning. that gives you maybe peace of mind in your planning. It gives you a chance to walk in and have an idea of, okay, so if I'm going to do these 3 attractions in this part of the Magic Kingdom, maybe I want to make an ADR. So say you have Jungle Cruise, Pirates, and I don't know, would you do Tiki Birds, Magic Carpets? You're doing that. So maybe you schedule an ADR in that area of the park for like Jungle Skipper or Jungle Canteen or Canteen. So that way, you know, like you're all in the same area and you minimize your walking. It just gives you a plan. And when you plan early, and we all like to plan, that's an opportunity. So I think that is something that's huge. It's less, I don't know if it's going to be less time on our phones, but I think they're spinning it like that. So give me a call and let me know about that. Also, Tiana's is now open since June 28th. So as of this recording, it's the 3rd day today. To the general public. What have you seen if you've been watching on social media or if you have been at Walt Disney World? Some of you have been there, locals and so forth. What have you seen? What have you liked? What have you not liked as far as Tiana's going, running to the general public? I saw that it had some issues today. There was some bad weather. That's just bad luck yesterday. There were some bad storms. That's just bad luck. What I do like, though, is that there are beignets in the Magic Kingdom. The Outpost has them. They have gumbo too. The Outpost had a menu with gumbo. One of our listeners wrote in and told us about that today. Oh, looking good. All right, first caller of the night. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike. This is Cindy.
Hey, sorry, I didn't catch your name. Who is it?
Cindy. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. What's going on, Cindy? Where are you calling from?
Actually, I'm calling from St. Charles, and yeah. So. Yeah, but I have a couple things to say about both of those things that you just brought up. As far as them getting rid of Genie Plus, I think actually that's a great thing. I think having people have to buy something and try to get, have to do it early when they're trying to get into the theme parks and all that kind of stuff. I'm glad that they're switching back to, like you said, what was basically the old Fast Pass. But I also think that, the other thing that's going on with this too, for like my family in particular, is what they've done with DAS as well. And I think that, yeah, if you're going to take away DAS from, practically everyone, I think there does need to be a way for some people who have a rough time, in the parks on these hot days, waiting in long lines. You've got to have something to, even if it's a paid option for these families. And, I just don't think that Genie Plus was particularly easy to work with, just because you had to do everything day of. And, you'll be able to set up 3 in advance. And I think that'll be a whole lot better for everybody.
So let me ask you about this, because we actually, and I kind of deferred. Because you're going to hear this show come out a week from Friday. If you listen to this on the feed, it'll come out, I think, on the 12th, where we initially just kind of got initial thoughts on this system. And DAS was brought up, and I kind of deflected it because I don't like to speak to things where I don't have a lot of, firsthand experience, because if I don't know about it, it's kind of, a lot of people in today's society like to have hot takes and like to have opinions on everything. And I'm just kind of old school, right? If I don't have information, I don't want to act like I do, because I've never used the DAS system personally. I mean, I've read about it, but I've never experienced it. And especially since they've changed it, I've read a lot of stuff online, but again, they've changed it so significantly that I don't know what to believe when I read online, because sometimes that can be skewed because of opinion, because you don't know what you're reading on Twitter sometimes and Facebook and social media. And I know that it is a significant change. I mean, I'm not denying that at all, but because I have a nephew who I think the DAS system is going to be critical for him to ever experience, and not only him, he's an elementary school kid, but it's not because, it would help him. It also means that his parents would have a better experience at Walt Disney World, right? Because they want him to have a great time. If he isn't having a great time, neither are they. And
right.
But I think what you're saying is that the pre-planning, because he has to have things super structured. Like, I mean, when he comes over for family get-togethers, Thanksgiving, Christmas, stuff like that, like we have a great time. He loves coming and seeing Uncle Mike. but like things have to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's expectations and things have to be, he has to know what's going to happen. And I think that's true of a lot of families, a lot of kids in our society. So are you saying that like Genie Plus was more fluid? You didn't know what you were going to get, even though you could kind of shorten your wait in lines, but where this system, where at least you kind of have 3 things planned before you leave home, that might be an advantage to the new system?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that will help a lot because you never know. I mean, like with Genie Plus, it was kind of like you had to do one at a time, and you never knew after you did the first one, what you were going to be able to get for the second and the third. And I just feel like they really locked down DAS so tight now that I don't know. I can't speak to whether or not people were abusing that system before. I really don't know. I mean, I know that there's a lot of disabilities or things that, aren't visible to other people. So I never felt like whenever we used DAS in the past that there was just like a ton of people and, skipping lines. I just really never felt that way. But I think it's to the point where, it's so limited in what they will accept for DAS that there are a lot of people who have issues that are not going to be able, to get it anymore. And I know that was the case with my daughter, so, so I see this as a positive change as long as they don't raise the price really high, to compensate for the added convenience of it, I guess.
Right. That's the whole thing. I mean, it's so, it's such a fine line, right? I mean, everybody's going to have to pay for something, and, there's going to be folks that want it for free. And I think that, again, it's kind of like society too. I hate to say it. And this is just how society works with every single thing. Like, I mean, I was an elementary school teacher for 17 years, right? And for the majority of that, I taught a general ed classroom in 6th grade. And the biggest lesson that my kids learned, it was wrong. I mean, when I look back, cause I was a young teacher, right? I was in my 20s and I didn't have experience my first few years of teaching. And, a few would mess it up for everybody. Right. And when I was a young teacher, like 2 or 3 kids would screw up. And what would I do as a teacher? I'd take away recess for the class that day, cause I was like 24 years old, right? I didn't know what else to do. Like, okay, that's it. There's no recess today. Everybody's staying in. Cause like 4 kids were clowning out of 27. Was that the answer? That was absolutely not the answer. Those 4 clowns should have been the one that had the punishment, not the other 23. But, like in society, it's such a hard, like to arbitrate. Nobody's going to get that answer right because so many disabilities are invisible. And and to even say the word disabilities, I'm, like when you like look at how I structure my day, I'm so rigid. I'm so rigid in how I do things because I work from home now. And we all just have our personality quirks and how we function, that there's nobody that could say, yes, stamp, boom, and get it right every time. I mean, you're lucky if you probably get it right 50% of the time. So they're probably not getting it right. Nobody could. There's no way. There's no way. But that's just here or there. I mean, I think they're trying because the system was definitely abused. I mean, for sure. But anyway.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know how many people were, but I mean, I don't know. To me, though, there were other alternatives from going to what they did to basically just kind of taking your word for it to what they're doing now, which is basically allowing almost no one to use it. I think there should have been a way to maybe submit a doctor's note or, something like that. And I'm not saying that people still can't falsify that or, some way, try to get around the system with that. But I think that they went a little too far, in my opinion.
And that's usually how society goes, right? The pendulum swings and it always goes to the extreme. You're right. I mean, but in our society, it's so litigious that we can't have a doctor's note because it seems common sense, right? Like my doctor says, this is what I need. Like, but no, we can't ask, you can't ask about anything anymore because we've gotten there. Anyway, I don't think we're gonna solve the world's problems on this issue on this show tonight. But it was a great conversation. But what else you got? Because this one's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I wish.
And now I lost my. What I was going to say, what was the other thing you brought up? You brought up two things. Oh, I know, Tiana.
Tiana's.
Yes. So Tiana's, yeah, we went on my daughter's a CP college program down in Disney right now, and so we were able to come down during the cast member previews, and I think everything's generally positive about it. I just hope that they can keep that thing up and running, because obviously during cast member previews, they were having a lot of issues, and the ride was going down a lot, and I kind of felt like there was about a 50-50 chance that we would actually be able to ride it. And as it turned out, we had to wait, but it was nice because what they did for us was they we had like a 9:40 time or something. Well, the ride wasn't up in the morning at all, but they let us go ahead and go into the parks. And eventually, mid-afternoon, we got called, to go. And so, and I think some of the issues, like actually the sound was low and it was a little hard to hear some of what the animatronics were saying, some of the audio, but I understand that some of that's kind of been fixed now. So no, I think it's great. I think they did a nice job with it on the retheme.
No, and that's good to hear. I mean, the thing is, it was still in previews, right? I mean, it was it was on a struggle bus for a few days there during the previews, cast member, AP, all that stuff, but it was still a soft opening. I think people forget that sometimes, oh man, I'm there for my AP preview. Well, you're still there for a soft opening. It's not officially open yet. So if it's down, and they're still not open yet. So we're, now it's open to the general public. It struggled today, but that's what things happen. But once it's open to the general public, I would expect reliability to a certain level, because people are paying $125 to get into the park. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, it should be rather reliable then, but we'll see,
Right. We were happy just because, hey, it was a free day in the park. So, exactly. It was fine. We went and did our thing. We went on other rides. We went to Diamond Horseshoe, had a great lunch. And, it was when we were sitting there at Diamond Horseshoe that we got the push notification that it was up and we could go ahead and go. So yeah, it was a good day. I can't complain at all. And yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, they're testing it out on cast members for
that's
that
why
reason,
you're there.
to work out all the bugs.
You're actually a test. You're actually, the whole time you're in a preview, you're the test dummy. They just want to call you that.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you're the dummy. I know. Yeah. See, I get it. I get I have daughters and wife. I get called that all the time. So I'm just used to it. So not much different than my everyday life. No, great call though. I appreciate the points. And beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. How about the weather today here? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it's nice, but it's not going to last.
No, it's exactly. So. No, it's if it was this nice every day, we couldn't afford to live here. That's what the weatherman says.
Right.
Well, thanks for leading us off, and I'll talk to you soon. You take care.
Okay.
Bye bye. All right, 407-413. Man, the phones are lit up now. She got it going. So let's see here and get our next call in. I just actually minimized the screen, but it still works. Say who's our next call. I think. Hello, caller from the 216. Are you there? Maybe it doesn't. Hang on. Hello, caller. Are you there? All right. Give us a call back. I must have hung up on that caller. And I do not want to call them back. That'd be shocking. Oh, here they are. It'd be bad if I called the caller. That would not be right. Caller, you're back. Hey, who's joining us?
Oh, hey, Mike, it's Thomas Perk. How you doing?
Hey, Thomas, guess what? Your gratuities are paid, and you did not use your onboard credit, so I am happy, and I'm giving you a bell.
I love it. I specifically, I wanted to make sure. I'm so bad about this. But I wanted to make sure I couldn't use my onboard credit for gratuities.
That was good news. I was actually on the horn with Disney Cruise Line when your email came in. I was like, perfect timing. Let's get this done. That's why it was so quick.
Awesome.
So what are your thoughts on all this? Hope you're having a good weekend.
Oh, no. Okay. So first of all, awesome. I'm looking forward to 4th of July weekend. It's a great weekend.
Absolutely.
Second best only to veterans.
Yes.
I
could understand that.
But that's personal. That's personal.
Hey, I'm with you, man.
But no, I wanted to chime in because I personally love this whole well, I don't know what to call it. What individual lightning lane pass, whatever Disney's calling it. I love it.
Okay, so here's how you can remember. It starts with LL. Remember, lead it off with a couple of L's. LLMP, so an SP. So like it's like a starting pitcher if you're a baseball fan. And I don't even know what the MP would be. A middle reliever? But see, that doesn't work.
Okay.
I'm trying to get in my head though, but it's like a starting pitcher and then like an MP is like a middle pitcher. I don't know. But yeah, the multi-pass is it's Genie Plus. And then the SP is single, so that's the individual, single individual. Okay. I'm still just now getting it from Wednesday. I've been like drilling myself. Almost like flashcards day from elementary school. But I'll get there eventually.
Well, I'm so old school, so it's going to be fast pass until I'm like 65.
Amen. Why can't they do that? I mean, why do they have to make it so hard? Amen. I'll give you another bell. You're making too much sense. That's the problem.
I called it fast pass for like the past 4 years.
As you should. Yes. And now it doubly makes sense. It doubly makes sense to call it fast pass.
Yeah.
Fast pass plus. Done. Plus. Yes. Yeah. Totally.
I'm there. I'm with you. but I love it because personally I love staying at the resorts, at like the Walt Disney World resorts. I absolutely love it. I will plan vacations to have more resort days, but I thought over the past couple of years that the benefits for staying at the resorts have slowly been eroded away. And this gives me that like warm and fuzzy that staying at the resort is giving me something extra.
It gives
you that extra
yep.
7 days.
It gives you back an advantage, and you should have an advantage because you're paying a premium, and premiums should come with advantages. And this is one. This is a good one too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I travel a lot for work. I have titanium status at Marriott. I could stay at a Marriott for almost free, but I choose to stay at a Disney resort. And lately I've been kind of questioning that decision, but now I'm more like, okay, like I love the Wilderness Lodge. I love the Polynesian. I want to stay there. And this gives me that extra, like, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth that premium price.
And I want Disney to hear that because they need to hear this, because what it's going to do, it's going to bring up the guest satisfaction ratings. They're always surveying guests, and I think this is going to be a big hit. And it obviously it's going to drive bookings, because that 4-day advantage to book your reservations, that's a big deal. I mean, for the people that are really wanting to squeeze every ounce out of a really well-planned and well-executed Disney vacation, that's a big deal. Now, is it going to be a big deal for the person that doesn't really know what's going on? That's the person who probably doesn't know the difference between staying on site or staying on 192 anyway. You know what I'm saying? But for the folks who know, and I'm putting that in air quotes, but it's a big advantage, but they need to bring these things back. They scaled them back so far. I think, we talked about the pendulum change, kind of going back and forth. Maybe it went so far the other way that maybe it is starting to work its way back to the center and go back the other way. I hope. God, it's about time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it was really and trust me, I love Walt Disney World. I love staying at the resorts, but it was starting to get to the point where, is the premium I'm paying to stay on site worth it? And this is really starting to kind of swing that pendulum back to, yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I do this for a living, and I podcast. I'm passionate about it. I love Walt Disney World. I mean, I couldn't be happier than my 18 hours that I'm going to get to spend on Friday at Old Key West. Like, I mean, I'm already like thinking, okay, I want to swim in the feature pool. I want to go back to Turtle Pond and swim in that little, because I like that little quiet pool. There's a little snack bar back there. I want to, check out the community room. I want to gurgling suitcase, have a drink. I got it. Like, I'm going to hit everything, the exercise room before we go over to the cruise place on Saturday, the terminal on Saturday morning. I'm going to squeeze every ounce out of that resort in a one-night stay. I get a huge kick out of it. We're going to Disney Springs, and I love it. But, I mean, I still don't want to be taken for granted. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I go, but you feel it as a Disney fan, right? Especially like a long-term Disney fan who was, I was one of those guys who brought his family back in the ultimate park hopper days. I don't know how far back you go, But I went, when they had the Ultimate Park Hopper, you checked into your hotel and basically they handed you a ticket to everything on property. Like you could do anything you wanted for the length of your stay. You didn't even have to pick how many days you wanted on your ticket. Your ticket equaled how many nights you were there. And it included Park Hopper. It included water parks. It included Disney Quest, which was there back then. You just did whatever you wanted. I mean, could you imagine that nowadays? It was awesome.
No, I would. I don't know. I'd probably lose a gasket. I would freak out.
And so it's gone the other way, which I'm still a Disney fan, but I just don't want to be, always take it for granted. Like I go, but I mean, there is a point where people do reach their breaking point. I'm not there, but I have seen, you see on social media, some people have gotten there. And I don't like to see that. That makes me a little sad. But I also I understand it though. I get it.
Yeah. Well, what I like about it is because I remember the old Fast Pass Plus days, and it didn't feel like I was on the phone. I mean, I'm the Disney nerd. I'm the Disney planner. You probably know this, but it felt like the past couple of times where like I had to be on my phone. I had to find that next Fast Pass. I couldn't really. I enjoyed the plan ahead aspect of it, where I had that option to say, okay, this is what we're doing this morning, and then we could roll it over, and this is the next Fast Pass, and I'm getting a value for now. Like I feel like I'm getting a value, like I'm going to pay for the new multi-pass lightning lane, and I feel like I don't have to constantly be on my phone. Like I think I lost experience by being on my phone trying to get the next ride, to get the next attraction, the lightning lane, whatever, and I like this a lot better. I think I don't have to be on my phone as much.
Yeah, I have really despised the being on my phone aspect of my vacation over the past few years. One is because that app is pretty buggy. And if the app is going to be buggy, that even drives me more nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're trying to make a modification or something and then the app crashes and you got to start over, then I get super fired up, right? Because the thing is, I mean, I think a lot of us, like my job is on the computer all day, every day in my real life. Like I'm on my phone all day. Like, I mean, I'm promoting the podcast. I'm checking on the Disney news. I mean, it's just, and a lot of us have positions where we're on computers or we're looking at screens all day. Like when I'm at Walt Disney World, the last thing I want to do is look at a screen. Like I want to look at castles. I want to ride rides. I want to look at food. I don't want to look at a screen, and like they force you to look at it so much. I want to be the opposite. I want to be in environments. I think that's why I like Disneyland. I mean, I do use Genie Plus out there, but I didn't feel like I was on my phone very much. It just seemed easier out there. Like I was just picking the next thing and putting it away and just scanning in. Boom, put it away. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I like Disney, because you get to escape from the world. Like the world sucks.
A lot of, well, I mean, I shouldn't, I don't think, I mean, my life is super good. Like I am blessed beyond, but but news and stuff. I mean, if I try to turn this stuff off when I can, absolutely.
Like mortgage payments.
Oh yeah.
Dance classes and all this kind of stuff. It's
preach on. It's my hip.
Like that, work, it's overwhelming. Like I don't want to be overwhelmed on vacation.
No, I got
That's
you.
the whole point.
I got you. That's awesome. I hear you.
But I did want to say, Mike, I love you guys. I know Scott's on his European vacation, which I'm extremely jealous of.
Oh, me too.
And I'm probably going to have to go book one because of him. So thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
If you're hearing this.
You will.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. Yeah, my wife is already. My wife and daughter are already like, yeah, we're doing this. So thanks, Scott. That's really sarcastically, but I love your positivity. I love everything about this because like on a personal level, I was up for promotion in the Navy Reserve. I didn't get my promotion. It was a very tight, not a lot of guys got it, but I always think of you guys and your positivity and your love for Disney. And I was like, you know what? It's a good day. A lot of good guys got promoted. I didn't. It's okay. And I have you. So thanks, Mike.
Well, hey, I just got to tell you that everybody who serves and has served, I could not think more of you and the folks that serve with you. You know, this is coming out on the 4th of July, and our country is amazing because of the folks who serve. And I saw a picture on Facebook last week, and I shared it, and it got so much engagement. And it was this gentleman who looked like he had just walked into the Magic Kingdom right as the flag retreat ceremony was happening. And I've walked past that spot a million times at the Magic Kingdom. It was right by the popcorn cart. You know, like if you come in on the left side of the train station, like if you're looking up, if you're coming in on the left side of the train station, the popcorn cart's there. And it looked like he was right by, like between the popcorn cart and the flagpole. He wasn't up on the flagpole though. It looked like he just noticed that he just happened to be walking in as the flag was coming down during the retreat ceremony. And, you know, just boom. And he stopped in it. Look, I mean, it's just one picture. I mean, I'm making the story up because it was one image, but hat off, down to the side, saluting the flag, and just a moment in time of respect for the moment and respect for the veteran of the day, but respect for the colors, respect for the flag. And I mean, it moved me, but what moved me, I mean, I shared it because I thought that's the greatest image. Like, that's Norman Rockwell, man. That is like America right there. I loved it. And it's respect. And it's my favorite place. And one of the things is I love that Disney still does this every single day, that they take the time at 5 o'clock or whatever time they do it to pull that flag down and honor a veteran and make it something we can pass on to the future generation that they can see. Now, does everybody come down and see that flag retreat ceremony? No, everybody should, but they don't. And it's their choice. But I try to make it a point to see it when I'm there. And that's my choice. But the thing was, like, it was such a powerful image, and I shared it, and a lot of people were like really excited about it. And that made my heart so happy that so many people enjoyed the image. And then I went back like a day later and the image was gone. Like, this picture's no longer available. I'm like, what happened? They said like the author took the picture down or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the best picture ever. So I don't know, like if they didn't have permission or something. I don't know. That's just how the world goes, right? I found the greatest thing ever. Then the next day I'm like, the image is gone. Like, I'm going to see it again. Anyway. So
no, that is like, I love the fact that Disney still does that. And it's amazing. My dad's a Vietnam vet, and I wanted, like, you know, my dream is one day for him to be the vet of the day. And he doesn't, he lives in Florida, but he doesn't go to Disney. He's not a parks person. We'll go when I'm in town, but that's my dream because I think he deserves it. You know, he's a hero, you know, so in my mind.
That's awesome.
Vietnam vet, fireman.
Super cool.
The man's amazing.
Hey, you guys are all heroes to me. So we'll get a couple more calls in here, Thomas, but hey, enjoy the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And hey, know that I'm so glad we're friends and I respect you so much. And nobody deserves to have a great 4th of July more than you and your other veterans and active military. So thank you so much, buddy.
No. Thank you, Mike. You're amazing. I don't discount what you do. You're awesome. All your hard work is greatly appreciated.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for being positive.
All right. Happy 4th. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy 4th, man.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. 407-413-9395. I want to get as many voices in as possible while we have so many folks calling in tonight. So give me, we had a ton of them on the board here just a second ago. So the phone line is back open and I want to give you that opportunity at 407-413-9395. I want to give a quick shout out to Mindy, who sailed with us on the podcast cruise last summer with her crew, Derek, her husband, and her kids, just back from Disneyland. Pop it up here on the screen for the very first time. Said, thanks for suggesting that everyone try it. I felt so much joy out at Disneyland. And that's exactly what I want to hear. Yes. Disneyland is joy. There's something about the place, man. It just makes you so happy and it's so easy. All right, next call on the line. Hey, who's joining us?
Hi, it's Diana from Connecticut.
Diana, how's Connecticut this evening?
Pretty good. It's actually not too hot. We just got back from Disney last night, so that's why I was calling. I had to share a story with you.
Hey, I mean, you're like boots on the ground. I mean, first of all, I guess it's kind of sad you're home, but I mean, happy that it happened, right? I guess.
Yeah. And it started off, we didn't have the best start to our trip, which is why I wanted to call. As it was happening, I said, I have to call the podcast and tell Mike about this because it was just one of the craziest things that's happened to me.
Hey, now see, you don't start it like that. Don't blame it on me because you said it was a bad start to the trip. I didn't do it. No, just go ahead. I'm just playing. Go ahead. What happened? Hope it had a good ending. Go ahead.
I just feel like I listen to your podcast all the time, and as it's happening, I'm saying to my husband, "Oh my God!" Like I feel like I know you in a way. Call Mike and
oh no! Here we go. Okay, go ahead.
So we fly Southwest a lot. It's kind of my go-to airline. I know that you really like Southwest too.
Yes.
And so our flight was supposed to leave at 3 p.m. This was last Friday, the 21st. And everything was going fine. We got on the plane and we started boarding around 2:30. So we get on the flight, and right about the time that we're supposed to take off, they make this announcement that there's some like mechanical issue with the plane. So we had to sit there for about 45 minutes, almost an hour. And then as they were fixing it, there started to be lightning in the area. So
of course,
as soon as they fixed whatever this mechanical issue was, then they came on the intercom and said, we can't take off now because there's no planes taking off in the area due to the lightning. So we ended up sitting on the plane for about another 2 hours. So now it's like 6 o'clock.
Okay, so real quick, you're giving me anxiety for my flight on Friday morning right now, right? Because I can picture all this stuff happening to me now.
Maybe I should have called you after.
I'm just saying, just welcome to my nightmare tonight when I go to bed. But go ahead, keep going.
No, but I feel like there's a silver lining to my story, which is why I wanted to share this with you, because I feel like it started off terribly, but then it really turned around for us.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so long story short, we ended up taking off at 7 p.m.
Oh my God! Wait, what time were you supposed to take off? 3? Okay.
It was supposed to be 3 p.m. We were supposed to arrive at 6-ish, and I had dinner reservations at Ohana that night, like at 9. I figured, we'll get in the resort, we'll have a nice late dinner, right, because we were staying at the Polynesian, and we'd never stayed there before, so we were really excited about it. So as this is all happening, I said to my husband, I think I have to cancel Ohana. There's no way we're going to make it on time. So luckily, because they let you cancel up to 2 hours before, I was able to cancel, no problem. So anyway, 7 p.m., we take off, but they told us that due to like legal reasons, the crew was over their working hours, so they couldn't even fly us direct to Orlando anymore.
Okay, I figured
so
you got to watch that. Yep. So you had to go to Baltimore. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Right, and we're flying out of Hartford, so it's like an hour flight to Baltimore. We land in Baltimore now. It's like 8:30 p.m. and now they have to switch pilots. But as they're doing this, they make this other announcement, and they said that there's still some kind of like mechanical issue with the plane. So they're looking into it again. And then they ended up deeming the plane not safe to fly, even though we had just flown from Hartford. So we ended up all having to get off the plane and switch gates to get onto a different plane. So now I'm thinking, now it's like 10 or 10:30, because we ended up waiting at the gate at the Baltimore airport for like another hour. We finally get on this different plane, and I think it was like 10:30 p.m. As we're sitting there, everybody's, we've all boarded the plane again. We're sitting in our seats, and we're waiting to take off. They had to switch co-pilots now because of that legal thing again.
Yep.
Now that they're like over their hours.
Yep.
It took 2 more hours as we're sitting on the plane, because due to the fact that they had to switch planes and we all had to disembark and then re-embark on another flight, there was all this paperwork that they had to do.
It's always paperwork. Once they fix it, like we just got to fill out the paperwork. That always takes another hour. Like, just sign the paper. Let's roll. I know.
It was crazy. It ended up being 1 a.m. when we took off from Baltimore.
Oh,
it was 1.
Gosh.
We landed at 3:15, and then we took the Mears bus. We didn't get to the Polynesian until 4:30 in the morning.
Were you not exhausted?
It was a half-hour trip. Oh my God. I said to the Mears driver, I was like, I don't even know what's up or down. I don't even know what you're asking me. I'm so tired. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened, because it should have taken us 2.5 hours, and it took almost 13 just to get from Hartford to Orlando because of all of these things that just kept happening. And I do have to say that people on our flight were like very kind and patient, which you just never know what you're going to get, especially when all of these things kept going wrong. So luckily we had people that were like very understanding on our flight. So then the next day,
sorry. I had to laugh because over on Instagram, JP Joe says silver lining incoming? Question mark, because everybody's like on the edge of their seats. You're like, not here yet, because that's a long. Okay, but
so I have a couple things. Okay, there's actually like 2 or 3 things that happened that I was like, wow, it's almost worth everything we went through. So the first thing that happened was the next day. So we're at the Polynesian. We ended up sleeping until 11 or something.
Yeah.
And luckily, we just had a pool like resort day scheduled. We went to Disney Springs that night to see the Cirque du Soleil show, which was unbelievable.
I do like that show. That's a cool show. Do they still have the ladies on the like unicycles or the one wheeler things?
Oh my God. Like I'm watching.
That's my favorite part.
I said to my husband, I'm like, how?
It's amazing. I know. Like it's unreal. It's like, I can't believe they're real.
I can't. And there's this one guy flipping on this other man's feet. I'm like, the coordination you must have to do that with another person, right?
Seriously.
It's not just you. And
it's unbelievable. I know. I couldn't believe it.
Unbelievable. I was blown away by this performance. But anyway, so luckily we didn't have a park day scheduled, because that would have been a nightmare to have to get up early when we got in at like 4:30 in the morning. So we got an email from Southwest, and they were very apologetic for the inconvenience. They ended up giving us each a $250 credit to fly with them again, which is great because, like I said, we use them all the time. So that was really nice. Then we're at the Polynesian pool. We're having lunch at the Oasis bar.
Okay.
And we had ordered food, and I guess it was taking a long time, which I honestly didn't even notice, because at this point I was like, I had not a worry in the world. We finally made it to Disney. I wasn't even thinking about it. And our waitress said that the meal was on the house because she felt so terrible that it was taking so long for our food to come out. So I was like, oh, well, thank you so much. Like, that was really unnecessary. I honestly didn't even notice that it was taking a while for our food to come out.
Oh, plus your perspective on how long things take now is very skewed, because like, like you thought like a long time to get there for a 2-hour flight was going to be like 3.5 hours at one point, when it ended up being like 14. You know what I'm saying? Like your whole system of how long things are taking is all messed up at this point. So you're like, if my French fries take 45 minutes, that ain't bad.
Well, that's exactly it. And that's why I even said to her, I said, this is the least of my concerns, considering what just happened for us to even get here in the first place. So that was really kind. I ended up doing one of those cast compliments. I just thought that was super nice. So shout out to Laura at the Oasis Pool Bar. Just really nice and friendly service. And anyway, so was not expecting that. So then, because I had to cancel Ohana on Friday, I was able to get another reservation somehow for Sunday night. For dinner for the 2 of us. So we get to Ohana on Sunday, and one of the cast members who came over to seat us for dinner, they always ask, oh, is this your first time dining with us? And I said, well, yes, it is. I said, we were supposed to be here Friday, but due to flight delays and other issues, we had to cancel. So then she says, well, sometimes things just work out even better than we plan, because it turned out that the table we got was like smack dead center of the restaurant, right by the window, and we got to see Happily Ever After fireworks, because the reservation I ended up getting that was available was like right I think it was at 9, and the fireworks started shortly after that, like 9:20.
Yep.
And I wasn't even thinking about the fireworks when I rescheduled the dinner reservation. And had we had dinner at Ohana on Friday, we totally would have missed the fireworks. So it ended up being just like this, I don't know, like Disney magic. It just kind of shows that sometimes the things you plan aren't as good as things that just happen in life. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, we plan all these things. We're Disney fans. That's part of, I think it's in our nature to plan and want to make things the best that we possibly can. And then sometimes life just throws us these curveballs, and things work out so much better than what we had expected.
I think Pam Forrester has said that for years here on the show, that many times, and I think it's in our, like you said, it's in our nature that a Disney trip has so many moving parts, right? I mean, you do need to go in with a plan. If you go in without a plan, you're going to be unsuccessful. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be chaos. I mean, we see it all the time. You see folks, I mean, it's not funny, but because these trips are so expensive, and you see families that go down there and think it's like Six Flags, right? And you could just walk in, and those days are gone. You know what I'm saying? And just like, okay, what are we going to ride? When you're in the hub, and have not a clue. And that just doesn't really work very well nowadays. You got to have kind of a plan. You got to have an idea for like where you want to have for lunch. What do you want to do? But what ends up happening inevitably on these trips when you go home, like you just got home today, or, you're freshly returned home, is that the memories that you go home with, almost like 7 to 10, 8 to 10, are the unexpected things that were never in the plans. You got to leave time for the unexpected things to happen. And sometimes you got to let the best laid plans go to the wayside and just make up things on the fly. But you got to go in with a plan and a lot of times modify it as you go. But you're right. I mean, sometimes the plans go awry and you just got to just let go and let Disney. You know what I'm saying? Like some people say, like, let go and let God. At that point, you just got to kind of let go and just let the fates have it, because you can't deal, there's nothing you can do about the mechanical problem on the plane, or the pilots timing out on their time, or the paperwork taking forever. What are you getting? Stressing out or yelling at somebody ain't going to help. You know what I'm saying? Just get down there and make the best of it. And, it sounds like karma turned around for you and kind of returned the favor in the end. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I actually really love that quote, let go, let God. And I just really felt like as I was sitting there in Ohana and just taking it all in and watching the fireworks, which I said I hadn't even planned on, I hadn't even thought about it when I made the original reservation. And I'm sitting there just thinking, wow, like had we gotten here when we planned, I never would have been able to experience it this way. So it almost made up for that craziness that we had to go through just to get there in the first place. And I think it does pay to be flexible and be kind. And, they do say kindness matters, and just, I think it does come back to you.
So let me ask you this, how was the Polynesian?
We loved it there. We, every time we go, we try to stay somewhere new just to kind of check out all the different resorts. I'm a really big fan of Yacht Club. So this time we did a split stay between the Polynesian and then the beach clubs. And, I love different things about the different resorts, but I feel like overall the Polynesian is just so different. You honestly feel like, you're in Disney World, but you just kind of feel like you're in this other place. It was amazing. I think that was my favorite resort now that we've stayed at so far.
See, I've only stayed there one night, like before a cruise years and years ago, or like for a media thing or something. And I've never like had a vacation there where that was home base for like, 5 nights or a week or something. And I so want to, but I know it's going to immediately be my favorite because I love the idea of Polynesia. I mean, like when I was a teacher, I used to teach out of the book Kon-Tiki. It's like a unit, which was, about this guy, Thor hired all that got on a raft and tried to go to South America. It's all about the islands in the South Pacific and stuff. I loved it. And I would, I've spent a bajillion days over at, the Polynesian eating at Kona and Ohana and Captain Cook's and any reason to go over there. But I know if I stayed there, that would absolutely be my favorite place to stay. So I just want to make sure that I don't get bit by the bug too hard there. That's why I like the Disneyland Hotel, though. The Disneyland Hotel kind of reminds me of the Polynesian a little bit with that. Have you stayed out there, kind of the center? Because it's got Trader Sam's, it's got the Tangaroa Terrace. Feels kind of Polynesian-ish to me. A little cheaper.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the Disneyland Hotel. And speaking of Trader Sam's, it was impossible. We thought maybe it would be okay to get in. It was just the two of us, but people were lining up at 2:00 in the afternoon, and they open at 3. And then by the end of the night, they had already closed the door. I don't know how, you really have to dedicate a big chunk of your day if you want to go in there.
Yeah, it's hardcore to get inside. It's worth it. I mean, if you have the time, I mean, I've been in there and, seeing all the drinks and all the antics that happen when people order certain things. And if you sit on certain places in the bar that things happen, every Disney fan needs to experience it once, right? You do need to sacrifice the time at some point to go in and check it out. But I mean, you have X amount of hours on every vacation, right? And you have to allot those hours in certain ways. It's just how it is. Like when you give those hours to Trader Sam's, you're taking them away from the Magic Kingdom or Epcot or, Stormalong Bay or, the volcano pool at the Polynesian. You can't double book them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to decide what's most important this trip. So yeah, everybody's going to get in there. Hopefully every Disney fan gets in there. It's worth it, but it's hard to find the time. I know. I hear what you're saying. It's really tough.
I think if we had stayed just with the Polynesian, maybe if we had had more time, but because we were only there for the first half of the trip and then we switched over to the beach club, we just ran out of time. So, on a future trip, hopefully we can get in there to check it out, because it did look pretty fun, and obviously it's super popular for a reason.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it's also super small, but I mean, I think that it needs to be small to keep its character. So it's
and I just wanted to share one more thing with you. When we were in Epcot, my husband and I went into Impressions de France.
Yes.
Because I hear you guys talk about it all the time. I'm like, oh, we have to go watch the show. We had seen it years ago, but it'd been a while. So I was like, oh, we have to go in there and watch it. And it was so nice. But as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, I had to ask you, do you not feel motion sick at all when you're watching it? Because parts of it kind of feel like Thorin, or even like Flight of Passage, where even I was sitting there, I felt kind of dizzy a couple times, just the way the angles and the cameras pan out with all the the landscapes and things.
How many Grey Goose slushies did you have before you went in there and tried it?
No,
I'm just kidding you. No, I don't know. No, I don't. I mean, I can see it's because that widescreen, it can get people. No, I get it. But no, I really don't have issues with that one. I'm good. But I do get motion sick with some things. But now, I don't know if you saw over in the Discord, Scotty G today was in France, and he went to the places in that movie, a couple of the places in that film, because he loves it so much. That was like his port adventure today.
Yeah, I've been trying to follow him on Instagram, but because we were away, I haven't really been checking Instagram too much the last week. But just because I know you guys talk about this all the time, like I said before, sometimes I go to Disney and you're there with me in spirit, because I remember all these things that you talk about on the podcast, and I talk to my husband like I actually know you guys. I'm like, oh, Mike said this, and Scott said this is his favorite part.
I do that to my wife about Leo Laporte. This is a tech guy that he's about my dad's age. So he's old. I mean, because I'm old, right? And he's like my dad's age, and he does these tech podcasts. And so we'll be at dinner, my wife will be fiddling with her phone or something, trying to figure something out. And I'll be like, yeah, Leo says. She's like, who? I'm like, Leo. She's like, who's Leo? I'm like, Leo Laporte. She's like, oh, you mean that guy you listen to on the podcast all the time? I'm like, yeah, I've only been talking about him for the last 15 years. I'm always talking about Leo. She's like, you need to go on a trip with Leo. I'm like, yeah, I do. She's like, he doesn't even know you exist. I'm like, he does, because one day he came to St. Louis and did a meet and greet, and I gave him a hat. So he doesn't know me, but I got a picture with him. It's like one of those things. I met him for 5 minutes, and I was nervous because he's like my podcasting, hero. But he doesn't remember meeting me. I guarantee you that. But he came to the Trainwreck Saloon in St. Louis, and I made a point that cold Tuesday night right before COVID started to get a picture with him. So yeah, I get it. The podcasters, they're a big deal to me. I love my podcaster friends, so I get it. My wife understands too.
It's like a crazy sensation, because you don't know each other, but because I don't miss an episode, so I feel like in some ways you're part of like my family. Like I know you guys, even though I don't.
From this side, it's really wild though, because from this side of it, like when folks do come up in the parks and like introduce themselves, like when my family's, especially when my wife's with me, I get the biggest kick out of this, right? Because exactly what you just said, like people will start firing stuff off about me and they'll say, oh, hey, Mallory, or oh, hey, Pam, and like, because I don't hold back on the show. I talk about everybody, right? And like Pam will be like, how do they know all this stuff about us? I'm like, because I talk about it all the time on the show. She's like, that's so funny. I'm like, do you know that? I'm like, no, that's the first time I ever met him. It's so cool, though. I love it. It's so funny.
Today, too, as I was home, I was unpacking and I was catching up on the podcast from this last week. And I love that you had Simon co-hosting with you since everybody else was busy, because he is awesome. I love listening to him too. Yeah,
we'll have him back. He is he's hard to keep up with, man. He's an entertainer. I love him.
And my husband works for Walmart, so I get such a kick out of his comments whenever he brings up Walmart. I just can't help but laugh, because it's just so funny how people.
Oh my God! You got to get those two. You got to get those two together. That's like that'd be like Simon visiting, I don't know, like Yankee Stadium or something, or whatever, man. Holy cow! He'd lose him. He'd lose it.
I wish you a great trip on your cruise. And you said you were going to go watch that. Oh, we did see the drone show at Disney Springs. The only thing I was gonna comment on was that we ended up having to watch it all the way down by House of Blues. That's just where the crowds were going because it was actually pretty crowded. And we saw the whole thing kind of from the side. There was a lot of trees in the way. So I'm sure you probably have it all figured out where you're going to stand. But I had heard that one of the best spots is in between Starbucks and Summer House, just because you get like a direct view without anything really obstructing it.
No, I appreciate that. And I don't have any idea yet where we're going to watch it from. I don't even know if we're going to watch it. Like I want to because I want to see it. I'm a huge fan of drones, but it's one of those things, right? We're going on the cruise the next morning. We're going to be getting up early. And if we're in the pool and it's like 8:30 or like, cause we got to get there earlier than that, like, cause the boats won't be running cause they don't run the boats, right? Because of the drones. So we'd have to get on a bus. It's one of those things like, do you want to deal with, and I hate to say this, but I mean, this is like all those decisions you make at Disney, right? Do we want to deal with all the work, air quotes, it's going to take to see the show? So, or do we just want to stay in the pool and then just walk back to our villa and just call it a night? You know what I'm saying? And like, just enjoy the night and relax. So we may or may not see it. I mean, I want to see it.
I mean, it was definitely nice. It felt short to me, maybe just because we couldn't see it that well. That's why my only recommendation would be to try to stand somewhere between that. I had read that was a good spot, was right between Starbucks on the west side there and Summer House on the lake. But I really don't know how it works because by the time we got there, it was so crowded, there was no room. So unless people have to show up super early or if there's preferred seating, I don't really know.
Well, see, that's where I watched the last show back when they used to have the Christmas show. That because I watched it behind whatever the Gloria Estefan restaurant was, Bongos or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was called. But it's where Summer House is now because they knocked it down and put that in, or where Haleo is. But that was the prime spot. But it wasn't as popular, I don't think. But yeah, maybe. I mean, because worst case, like it's crowded, we'll get ice cream or we'll get something from, I mean, there's plenty of stuff to eat over there.
It kind of ties into what you've been talking about that, we try to plan everything ahead of time, but then sometimes things just come up. You might decide you don't even feel like going if you're having a fun time at the pool and you just change your plans.
Well, see, and I'm with teen girls. I'm with teen girls, so I'll be the last person that has any say in all this. So I'm just going, dude, I'm just the guy that pulls out the credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, I'm just like, are we going? Are we not going? Because I'm not even getting in a fight over this. Like, you want to see drones? Okay. You want to stay in the pool? Cool. Whatever. I just learned, like, it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's vacation. Either one, I win. Like, I'm either in a swimming pool at Old Key West or I'm watching drones. Whatever. I mean, I win either way. That's how I look at it. So I can't lose. I used to battle, like, because I'd pick one and like always fight for like the one I really wanted. But I've learned in my old age here that, you know what, I win either way. So just like let them pick, and even second choice is pretty good. So I'm fine. I'm okay.
There you go. And you still have your whole cruise ahead of you too. So.
Amen. I just can't wait to get on that ship. And it's going to be fun. Well, hey, great call. And thanks for the awesome feedback. And so glad it worked out. And again, thanks for my nightmares all week until I get on that. Until that plane is off the ground from Lambert Airport. You better track my flight on Friday morning to make sure at 5:30 a.m. wheels are up. I'll get you my flight number so you can check on FlightAware so you know you didn't put a hex on me. Okay, so I'll let you know. All right. Otherwise, I'm coming for you.
The purpose of the call was not to give you anxiety. It was just to share with you this crazy story that I had.
It's fine.
No, you will be fine. I have faith that everything's going to be fine. This was just our bad luck, which, like I said, ended up turning into some pretty good luck, actually, if you look at it that way. That is,
great story in the end. I just don't want to have to go through the ringer at the beginning. So I'd pass all that, but yeah, we're good. No. Okay. No, I appreciate the call. And
I've never had this happen before, so it's going to be fine. It was a rarity.
I have had something similar, and so let's say that I've already done this. Been there. Mine happened coming home, so that was better. You know what I'm saying? Like I was done with my trip, so yeah, it happened coming home.
Right, that would be better.
I could care less. I wasn't like in a super hurry to get back to St. Louis. Big deal. Who cares? No. Keep delaying. Whatever. Keep me in Orlando. Anyway, well, hey, have a happy 4th of July, and thanks for the call, and don't be a stranger. We'll talk to you when I get back.
All right. Have a great trip.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. And that is going to do it because we are at the top of the hour. But thanks so much for hanging out with me. What a great call-in show. Again, next Sunday night, no call-in show, but 2 weeks from tonight on Sunday night, we are going to get back together. Scotty G is going to be back joining me. We're going to be taking your calls. I'll be just off the Disney Fantasy the day before, talking about that and taking your calls with all the Disney news from 2 weeks. We'll have plenty to talk about. So we'll see you there. And of course, between here and there, lots of shows. We're not going to miss any episodes. We don't do that here on the Be Our Guest podcast. And the clubhouse will be open 24/7 every single minute between here and there. And I'll be in there. Scott's in there, even from Europe. He's in France right now. He'll be in Spain tomorrow, but he's checking in the clubhouse. So you're always in touch with our show. Come on over, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. All right, don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney vacation, whether it's Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, Walt Disney World. No additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. I know those Prime days are coming up. That's a great time to use the link, and it really does support us at the same time. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the lifeblood of our show. You make this podcast happen for all the video hosting, all the audio hosting, the bandwidth. Thank you so very much. Just $5 a month. It's like a coffee a month. And you keep our show on the air, and it really means a lot. And you get a bonus show every week just as a thank you for that. Today, our show was about Meadow Park Steakhouse. My memories from a steakhouse growing up where my dad was the drummer. So we talked about that on the show. It was a 40-minute show. It was a good show. So if you want to join us on Patreon and get the bonus show and support the show at the same time, keep us going, $5 a month. Just come on over, patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Again, give me the follow on the socials. I'm going to be lighting them up starting now because I'm getting ready to go on my trip. Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And we'll catch you here on the shows until we get back together in 2 weeks for the call-in show. All right, you guys have a great 4th of July and a great holiday week. So until we get back together again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.